Okay, let's get the colors balanced out. There, 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 and there. I am Groot. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh overview. Today, let's take a quick look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3 Deluxe Groot. And it all came about just as I foretold. I've been skipping on a lot of the MCU stuff. I thought I was going to do the same with Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. Then I saw the movie, and it hit me right here, somewhere in here. A little down there, but mostly right here. When I started seeing the Marvel Legends figures, I thought, well, hell, I gotta pick up Star-Lord. Maybe a little Rocket. If you watch the Playday, you know I picked up that Hasbro Epic Heroes smaller scale kids kind of line for this Cosmo because I feel like the Build-A-Figure Cosmo is a little large for the figures. This may be slightly small, but it fits in better. Anyway, that's a different video. I haven't picked up any of the rest of the wave yet, but I feel like if the buy so many, get one free at Target happens this weekend, then I may be buying those too. That's actually what got me to pick up Groot. Not that I didn't want it, but I had GameStop rewards. I had coupons. I had a little money off. And if I can save some money, pow, I'm all over it. Plus it's Groot. Look at that. I needed it. Looking at the package, it's Groot. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Warning, choking hazard, small parts. Don't put the wood in your mouth. On the side, some artwork showing movie Groot. On the back, another render of the figure, the accessories it comes with, another warning, small parts. What did I just tell you? On the other side, big old render of Groot. On top, the Guardians logo on bottom, some legalese, $38.99 at GameStop. Again, I had money off. Oh, and that reminds me, if you bought this at Target for $50, take it back. Get it price matched with the website or something, because I don't know why they were overcharging. Anyway, let's get this open, see what's going on here. Cut away with this dull ass blade. I always feel like I'm opening a present. Some assembly required for the wings, and oh, what the hell am I doing? I thought that was bent, then I did this and realized, oh, that's upside down, don't do that. Should snap in, secures in. They both angle back the same, so this is exactly what I expected. The movie and the Christmas special came out very dude in rubber suit. And I don't watch a lot of behind the scenes or making of, so I don't know if it was practical or digital. I just know that it took me a minute to get used to this version of Groot. We had seen adult Groot and potted plant Groot, baby Groot, teenage Groot, but young adult Groot, it was a bit jarring. He's the most humanoid out of all the versions, I guess. And hell, we're still missing one. Spoilers. Remember I said spoilers. We're still going to need the massive King Groot from the end of Guardians 3. But this will definitely hold its place on the shelf for now. Because look at this thing. It is done so nice. In fact, I'm now looking at the figure and seeing things that I didn't even see on screen. Just like previous Groots, there's a lot of wood texture, there's bark, there's vines, there's twigs, there's branches, there's roots. But I didn't realize that the right arm kind of looks like muscle. There's still separations. It looks like a plate coming around, but it's kind of flat and muscly looking. While on the left, there's this knot hole and this extra texture. There's still almost some muscle striations, but there's a difference. There's an asymmetry. And I guess you can say that about the whole thing when you come down to it, because these plates on the torso, up here, it looks like just bark slapped on to cover up his wooden innards. I don't know Groot anatomy. And then on the abs, there's some planks. That's what I'm like. It looks like planks just laid over here. And it's the same here. This one kind of stretches over, crosses over, and then, whoa. There's an asymmetry to the legs, but they do kind of angle out. There's a flow going from top to bottom, because down below there's this viney texture coming through, branches growing up. On the back there's some hollows here and here and here. The ride is solid, and it even has this little new growth here, and it's the same right here on the left arm. It has some leaf growing on it. There's also some holler here on the left arm growing out and about. Well, it's the right too, but if you get close, you can see some branches, some vines, some Groot vein or artery crisscrossing itself right there. The hands doing their thing, again, coming out with some texture. I'm also liking how the articulation was implemented, or the texture they added to make it a little more seamless. Don't get me wrong, It's a toy. You can see the seams. There's a cut, and there's a cut, and there's a cut, and there's a cut. Makes it less jarring. It doesn't go into a smooth ball joint here or a visible hinge because they've done that new shoulder pad thing. It's a rubbery material with a ring coming down sandwiched in between the torso and the shoulder, so it will ride with the arm and it flexes out of the way, all while continuing that flow from top to bottom. It just very, very nice. My favorite thing about Groot's are the feet, though. It looks like it's roots growing into the ground. When he plants himself, no pun intended, you get some balance on there, and it looks like he's solid. He's ready for battle. Nobody's going to knock him over. Then there's also the head with some very nice detail, and especially the way the eyes are painted in there. More than anything, that humanizes Groot. He has arms and legs and torso, a humanoid form, but you look there and there's some soul peeking out at you. He even has rings. If you count those, can you tell how old he is? There's baby Groot, and here's teenage Groot, and maybe. Besides the eyes and probably the lips, the most prominent paint are these green splotches in places. On the torso, it has some actual sculpt to it. It looks like moss. But in other places, it's just thrown on top willy-nilly to give the figure more color. Not a lot of green on the back, though. Does that mean Groot is always facing north? Ooh, but while we're back there, ba-boom. And then again, that plate look up on the back, which really, it's all meant to look like musculature. It gives us something familiar, even though it's wood. Going back to paint, what you see most is just the base brown plastic. There is a wash thrown into the deeper recesses in places, going all the way down to here and here, around the neck a little bit, and then the face. It has some shadowing to it. Overall, it's plasticky, but again, it's a toy. It's mass market. I may... do I want to do some customizing here? That is a lot of beautiful detail. It sounds like a happy, fun, good time with the dry brushing and washes. Articulation-wise, there is a... Oh, can I keep going? Yep, there's a ball joint at the top with a hinge underneath. That gives some up, quite a bit of down, which is good because he's a larger figure. A little tilt for a pinch of personality, left and right. Pin coming out to the shoulder, but again, remember the shoulder pad is sandwiched in there, so you can't just go jerking on it. You got to kind of let it ride all the way around, and then bring it back. But because of the flexibility there, the hinge in the shoulder comes up to there. Swivel at the bicep. Single hinge at the elbow comes up to 90, and then there's a little rotation there. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge in and out. Dumbbell at the mid-torso allows for this kind of crunch, and then arc back. Lots of tilt, though. Ooh. That's also where you're going to get your rotation. Ball at the hip comes up. Not a lot of back, though, because of how much back he's got. Very nice out. Better than a lot of Spider-Mans. Swivel at the thigh, kind of hidden by the sculpt. Hinge at the knee comes up to 90, and then there's rotation there. Big old ankle hinge gives you this, and there's even some front-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, Groot has 2 open hands. Those pull out easy, and that allows you to give him fists for both sides. Then there's the root wings. It's essentially more of Groot growing out and being wings. That's all I got to say about that. Square hole in the back, plugs right in, doesn't rotate. There's no joints to the wings themselves, so what you see is what you get. I mean, it was a very short scene in the movie, so I could take these or leave these. In fact, that takes up a lot of shelf space, and most of the time he looks like this. And then finally, there's this young Rocket from before he got modified. Nice details to it. He's sitting there just doing his own thing, and not too different from the one that came with that Epic Heroes set. Size difference, sure. Head size, I don't know, pretty close. If nothing else, you can use these as the raccoons that Rocket rescues at the certain point. That may or may not happen in the movie. Spoilers. Looks pretty good. Well, I guess I could do this because that brings us to size and comparisons. This little Rocket is about 1 inch tall, while Groot is about 7 1/4, which is intimidating next to the Marvel Legends Guardians 3 Star-Lord and Rocket. And then a little evolution of Groot with other Marvel Legends figures. The baby Groot, teenage Groot, and then Guardians 1 adult Groot. I think this came in a box set with other Groots because it has a better paint job than the original Build-A-Figure. But notice the new one is darker than the others. Then here it is next to my favorite Groot, the Marvel Select comic version, but that's comic version. I only pulled it out because he's a Groot. So at the end of the day, I really have nothing else to say other than I need more Guardians 3 figures. This and Quill and Rocket and that stand-in Cosmo definitely satisfies me for now, but the more I see the other figures, the other characters out there, the more I'm going to be tempted. I'm going to end up with them anyway. Because it wasn't just the movie, it's also the uniform aspect. I like how they're all matching up in almost comic accurate costumes. So yeah, I'm a sucker for Guardians. I'm not going to apologize for it. I will say that this should have been the Build-A-Figure for the Guardians 3 wave. Cosmo's okay, but she could have been thrown in with Rocket, exclude the Build-A-Figure piece from that package, and then give Groot parts to the rest of the wave. I see nothing wrong with that. In fact, the way this Groot moves and feels, I almost think that that was the plan at some point. But then, sell this for $40, put Cosmo in, split her up. But what do I know? I'm just a dumbass hillbilly playing with toys on the internet.